Her mother force sits her on the killing stump. Sit you down on it, she says. It seems for a moment that a vast silence has opened. The wind, a restless wanderer all times at this height, is still. The rocks set into the mountain are great teeth clamped shut to listen. In the mud puddles the girl is witness to herself, sees the woman's warp standing over her grey and grotesque. The spell of silence breaks. Wing flap and whoosh of a dark bird that shoots overhead for the hill. She thinks, what has become of Mam while I slept? Who has taken her place? Of a sudden she sees what the heart fears most, pulled from out of her mother's skirt the dulled knife. And then out of her own dark comes her brother Collie's story, his huge eyes all earnest, the story of a family so hard up they put the knife to the youngest. Or was it the eldest, she thinks. Collie, always with the stories, always yammering on, swearing on his life it was true. Quit your fooling, she said then, but now she knows that one thing leads to another, and something has led to this. She hears Sarah wheezing behind her, hears the youngers creep open the door to peep. She thinks of the last living thing they saw put to blood, the unfurling of the goose into arcing white as it was chased, rupturing the air with shrill. The eerie calm of that bird with its long neck to the stump, and their sister quiet now, just like it. The same blunt knife that made such long work. And Boggs that time waiting, the way he picked them clean. She sees the blade come up, becomes an animal that bucks and braces against her mother. The rush of Collie then, this small bull of a boy, 12 years old, his cap falling off, yelling out his sister's name, Grace. She hears in his voice some awful desperation, as if to speak her name is to save it from the closure of meaning, that as long as he is sounding it, no harm can be done. She feels the swerve towards an oncoming dark, Collie tugging at his mother, the way he gets an arm around Sarah's waist until she makes light work of him, puts him to the ground. Then she speaks, and her voice is shaking. Collie, get you back into the house. Grace turns and sees her brother red-cheeked upon his sit bones, sees the knife in her mother's hand as if she were embarrassed of it. Eye to eye they meet, and she is surprised by what she does not see in her mother, any sign of madness or evil. Hears when the woman speaks, a knot twisting in the cords of her throat. Enough, please, would ye? Then Sarah moves quick, takes a fist of the girl's hair to lay bare the porcelain of her throat, brings up the knife. All the things you can see in a moment. She thinks there is truth after all to Collie's story. She thinks the last you will see of Mam is her shadow. She thinks, take with you a memory of all this. A sob loosens from the deepest part and sings itself out. What she meets is the autumn of her long hair. It falls in swoons, falls a glittering of evening colours, her hair spun with failing sunlight. She sobs at the pain in her scalp as her mother yanks and cuts, sobs as her hair falls in ribbons, her eyes close to their inner stars. When she opens them again, her mother has circled her, Collie on his knees holding fistfuls of hair, the wind cold licking bitter at her bare neck. She raises her hands and puts them dumb to what's left of her head, her mother stepping in front of her, the knife going into the dress. Sarah looks frustrated, breathless, wan and exhausted, the skin on her throat beginning to hang loose as if to wear it well requires effort she has not within her. Her collarbone a brooch of banished beauty. She rests her hands on her 7-month swell, bowls up her voice to her daughter. What she says, you are the strong one now.